Hey, Lori, you want to start? It's 1:30.
Sure. We go ahead and get started. Um, Christina, would you like to kick it off?
So good afternoon, everyone. Let me turn my camera on. I'm in a car in a parking lot, so don't think I'm driving, but I'm at a student judging event for the state science fair. So forgive my absence in my meeting setting, generally in my office. So anyway, welcome and introduction. So welcome to the first meeting that I'll be the chair for, and I'm excited to be partners with all of you on this safety journey that we're all on together. So I'm Christina Boldnoy. I'm with Lochner. I guess, Lori, do you want to pass it around?
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. My name is Lori Palayo with JMT. Just to let everybody know, this meeting is being recorded, and if you are not speaking, please mute your mics. So going down the list, Angel Avila.
Hi, I'm Angel Avila. I'm a planner one with the Pasco MPO.
Brenton Mosher.
Brenton Mosher with USF Qatar.
Eric Henry.
Hey, y'all. Eric Henry with FDOT District 7 Traffic Safety.
Isabella DiCepolo.
Hi, great job. You did it perfectly. I'm with the HCA Bayonet Point Trauma Center.
Yeah, hopefully I don't butcher everybody's names. Jim Hartwell.
Jim Hartwell with Element Engineering.
Jonathan Rose.
Jonathan Rose, Everose Police.
Casey Kersey.
Casey Kersey with EXP, and I'm a volunteer on the Pasco County Traffic Safety Team, and I also support the Pasco County MPO.
Janine Lawrence.
Hi, Janine Lawrence from Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Matthew Belmonte.
Hey guys, Matt Belmonte, Safety Analyst with Gresham Smith.
Jim Reiser.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jim Reiser, District 7 Law Enforcement Liaison.
Tina Russo.
Tina Russo, Bike Ped Program Manager for District 7 Safety Office.
Venkat.
Venkat Radipuri, Traffic Operations, Pasco County.
Is there anybody else that is currently on the call that I did not call? Actually, it looks like someone's about to join. Emmett. We're doing roll call. Emmett Duran.
Hey, good morning or afternoon. Sorry, Emmett Duran, District Safety Engineer.
Perfect. Thank you. I think that is everybody.
All right, so meeting dedication. I know, Tina, that you added this element, I was told in the past, and I was just wondering if we should keep this going, or I guess other CTSTs don't take this initiative to do the meeting dedication. But if this is something we want to continue with, I'm going to need some assistance with how you formulated that and made that decision each month.
I'll let the group chime in first, and then if we need to discuss it further, we can. But again, if the group wants to continue the meeting dedication, I can add the background to it.
Yeah, I think it became kind of tricky towards the end there because we had to be careful about not revealing any personally identifying information. So it was like trying to be specific about a specific crash while at the same time stripping it of anything that you could use to identify it as one particular crash. So I think you could make a case either way, but it was always a nice note to start the meeting off on, at least.
Yeah, I copied it from, the coalition and a couple other groups that did it. But I think the main purpose of it was to kind of just remind us why we're here and appreciate why everybody is here as well. And that was the main goal of it.
Completely understand that and agree. So I guess moving forward, we can continue. I think it's along those same lines, but I guess maybe some suggestions that we can have offline, Tina, about how you came up with those names, and how I can present them or how we can present them without, stepping over any lines.
Yeah, we can meet, discuss offline. It won't take
Okay.
long.
Do any of the other members have any input? Okay. Okay. So the review and approval of the February 2025 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
This is Matt. I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Matt. Second?
I'll second it, Isabel.
Thank you, Isabel. All right. So moving on to old business, the problem identification and follow-up. So Lori, do you want me to go over these or do you typically?
Yes, you could go down the list, see if anybody has any updates with any of these recommendations.
Awesome. Okay, so Dougherty Road at US 301. Any updates?
Yeah, I can provide some comments here. This was one that's been on the list for a while, and I think bounced around between several different people at several different agencies. So we kind of just tried to start fresh, coordinate with our traffic operations folks to see what we can do based on the group's complaints about this location. And so we passed it along to traffic ops. We've discussed it some with them. They're going to do a left turn study, look at crash data. We have folks from our office doing kind of a general safety analysis of the intersection, so we can see what improvements we can recommend and what we can maybe look at doing in the future. So, and like I said,
That's
I know it's
great.
been on there for a while, but at least now we've got some positive momentum towards at least looking at what we can do here.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. State Road 52 at Colony Road to Moon Lake Road. I believe this was a exit issue, site distance, perhaps, if I remember, from a driveway.
I believe this one we discussed last meeting is slated to be removed. There was a hope, there's a resurfacing project that's going through there. And there was a hope that there might be potential to add a signal at that intersection due to some crash issues. But the money, I think, just ultimately wasn't there from the RRR to add that signal. So I think we'll try to keep looking at the crash data there and identify if there's any kind of other avenue we can use to do some improvements. But as far as including that signal as part of that RRR, it looks like it's not going to happen, unfortunately.
So should we
Yeah.
keep this on the problem location sheet, see if there's any additional crash data stuff we could find, or should we remove it?
I think we can probably, Amos, were you about to chime in with something?
I am, yes. There is so yeah, you got it. There's a resurfacing project and they're making some access modifications there to eliminate some of those open medians. I can get you a phase 2 plan sheet. I think there's already a plan, and there was also a signal warrant study that was done at was the one where they have the crosswalk location. Where there's an unmarked crosswalk there on 52. They did a signal warrant study to see if the either a pedestrian crossing or a full signal will be warranted. Neither of those was justified. So they're gonna directionalize that median. But there is plans. I think there's east of east of the segment on the east end. There's plans for a signal there. Let me see what if you can somebody pull the aerial. Otherwise, give me some time to try to remember the location there. Try to find it here. Colony Road.
Lori's got it up.
Sugar Creek. Yeah. So Sugar Creek,
Is
I
this it?
believe there was some plans to do a signal somewhere in there. Just east of there. I think it was Sugar Creek. There are
And
some
there's
plans to do it there.
Emmett, there's a crosswalk that's being removed, or has it been removed already somewhere?
Shadow Ridge. Yeah, that will be removed.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get you. Eric, I can get you the phase 2 plans, and you can share that at the next meeting, kind of what they're looking at doing.
That's perfect. So we can share kind of, yeah, just as a final note on this one, what we are going to be able to get.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much for that, you guys. State Route 56 from Bursby Downs to 301.
This is the
The lighting.
study.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, we just finished talking to FUD. I met, you're aware of it, and for conversations I told you with the Lakuchi to go ahead and continue their procurement process. So they're working on it. So the lighting is from 50 only up to Meadow Point, not beyond Meadow Point at this point. I don't know why we said it is a 301. That is the one which I got puzzled.
Yeah, I think part of it was because when this project was in the plans, 56 had not been extended yet. So this one has been in the work. So
what we can do is,
yeah,
Ahmed,
I know.
if you want, what we can do is let us see how it goes. If we all happy with the output, then we can definitely easily ask the Vedalakuchi to go ahead and continue that in the same manner later.
I like that.
But let us, if I prefer this one to be labeled as 2 parts, 56 from Bursby Downs to Meadow Point.
Yeah.
Phase 1 and phase 2 as Meadow Point to 301.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we can revise that problem area there, just leave it as from Meadow Point to 301, because that will be the part that's missing the lighting. Oh, let me say that again, that has no lighting improvements plan currently. Yeah.
Venkat, do you know when that will go, when the lighting will start, that project, by chance?
We're working with the utility companies, so they're going through the procurement process of getting all the materials and so on and so forth. So probably, I'll say in the next 3 months, we may be able to get a clear, definitive timeline for the construction. But it is going to happen in this fiscal year.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, next, State Road 52, east of Parkwood, Tractor Supply. Oh, this is the one with the driveway. Sorry about that.
Right,
We
Sorry,
just
go ahead,
met.
Tina.
Yeah, we just met this morning. Sorry. We did quite a bit of in-depth studying on turn movements at this location and everything. And what we basically found is the complaint was actually the movement out of Park Street onto 52. But the crashes really didn't show that was the biggest issue. But to make this short, we've done that work. We're looking at getting to trim that lot there that's full of trees, the sight distance coming out of Park Street onto 52, especially if you're going westbound. You can kind of see that lot next to Tractor Supply. That growth there has made it the sight distance kind of hard pulling out of there between that curve and the growth there. So through the work with a couple of our consultants, we've finally reached out to the property owner, and we're working with our operation maintenance folks in Brooksville to see if we can trim back that street there a little bit so you can have some better sight. As you can see from the street view, it's kind of gets very hard to see people, especially when they're going really fast. Hard to see people coming around there as well. So we're working on getting that trimmed back as well. But we did quite a bit of studies to see what was best for this location. And I think we have a good resolution at this point in time. Emma, please jump in if you need to.
No need. You got it.
Tina, I have a question. Is when you ask for trimming trees, especially on a curve, just for knowledge wise, do you suggest, or is there a rule how many feet back they need to trim?
So, and I think since this, you can see what's interesting that the DOT right away is right where those poles are at. So that means pretty much this is private property that we're looking to trim back on. So, and this is my first experience with this. I think it depends on the property owner, how much he lets us trim back and what the trimming entails as well. Again, we're still waiting for operations to kind of give us that, what they can do as well. That looks like it's just heavy brush and some palmetto, so it might be a little easier to trim back. And again, we want to do it once and not too many more times. So I think it just depends on that agreement between our operation folks and the property owner, what that might look like. You know, we're thinking 5 to 10 feet to really make it worthwhile.
Oh, okay. See, and I'm thinking 50, minimum 50.
Well,
So,
you know, if this
but
guy,
I
you
don't
know,
know.
if he wants us to trim more and we want to trim more just so we don't have to do it as often,
I was just
kinda,
thinking pulling out, I would think, but
no. But you
not
can
being
see
on
that
the.
that apex of that curve, you're going to have to trim back a little bit to get a decent sight
Oh, that's a
distance.
better view.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Being enlarged is a much better view, so you can see the. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
That's all the problem locations.
Awesome. So I've been looking at the top 5 locations also, so I may have some suggestions for the next meeting. I'll bring that to you and Eric, Lori, and we'll discuss to bring them up at the next meeting, if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Sounds great.
Thank you. And we do look at both the local roads and the state roads, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. All right. So new business, if we're ready to go around, education, we'll start up with you. Can you give us any updates, please?
I only have a couple things I can mention from our side. We don't have anything specific coming up in Pasco as far as outreach events, but Walk Like Mad is going to be this Friday. That's going to be at USF in Tampa. I think the event starts at 4 and then goes till what, like 7-ish, 7 or 8 o'clock. But that's a district-wide event, so we would love to see anybody here who wants to attend can feel free to come on down. I think that is the only thing that I have for education, actually. We had a busy March for Florida Bike Month, doing a lot of events across the district. And then next week is going to be Work Zone Awareness Month, and then Work Zone Awareness Week, the week of the 21st, which is kind of a specific campaign focus. So if anybody has any activities that they're planning related to that, definitely loop us in so we can kind of tag team there. And we will, of course, keep everyone apprised of what we're planning to do. We're hoping to develop a kind of a partner toolkit with some kind of social media posts and stuff that other local agencies can use to promote Work Zone Awareness Week. Work zones have been kind of one of the emphasis areas in our district, particularly in Hernando, Pasco, Citrus counties. I believe that we've seen kind of an unfortunate number of fatalities and serious injuries. So definitely one that we're going to try to focus on pretty hard this year. So happy for any teamwork that we can make happen to kind of promote that.
I know that we're in the middle of Battle of the Belts with the high school, just so you know. So, and we're definitely pushing, other than seatbelts, you know, keep an eye on, it's everybody's responsibility for pedestrian, bike, and the other thing for teen drivers is Prom Promise for the high schools here in Pasco. Just for.
Yeah, this is Casey. I was part of the Battle of the Belts. I did Anclote High School.
Mhm.
And then we'll go back after the campaign. Of course, they were on spring break, and then we'll go back after. Anclote doesn't have a large population, so you're not going to get to 100 for the drivers. But the thing that I noticed the most, and I thought was kind of fascinating, is I had at least 8 cars where the parents were not wearing their seatbelts, but the students were. So I thought that habit is getting solved with the younger people. They put that seatbelt on, even if the parents aren't promoting that themselves. So that was kind of interesting for me to see with them coming into the school.
Right, right. Yeah, because I did 5A in Hudson. And this year I had the coach that was delegated by the SRO. And one of the SROs helped me out and actually stopped, which was nice. Sorry, guys. Stopped the driver so we can actually see and have them roll down the windows because of the tint and to double check their seatbelts. So that was a bonus. So that was nice. So.
Oh, Izzy, that's fun. What I did is position myself by a speed bump that they had to slow down long enough in the front. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Hi, ladies. This is Renissa Martinez. I'm with Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital Safe Kids. I actually facilitate Battle of the Belt. So these wonderful ladies, thank you, Eric, as well, too, for getting the information out so we can have some more volunteers. But we did have about 7-8 schools register. So again, yeah, Battle of the Belts is proceeding. It's going on now. This is the week of the campaign. We did have quite a bit of schools get involved and get engaged, so they seem like they're really excited. They're again, same thing with me, Casey and Izzy. They kind of stopped all the students coming in. There's like a speed bump at Wendell Crin, and she made sure every person came down, and then we even had talks with the students. So very engaging. Of course, a wonderful program that we'd love to continue and keep. And one other thing I also wanted to mention is I wanted everybody to keep an eye out for Safe Kids Day Pasco. So being an entity of Safe Kids, we facilitate 5 different coalitions in 5 counties. So we are in Polk, Pasco, Manatee, Sarasota, and Pinellas. So quite a bit of ground to cover with only 3 of us. But Pasco County is now the current county for Safe Kids Day. We rotate between the coalitions, and this is a wonderful opportunity to be a vendor. We are looking at, I believe it is a Wesley Chapel Park. I don't know if anybody is familiar. I've actually never been there. I wanted to see if I could pull up the name to see if any of you are actually familiar with it, just to get any feedback. So let's see, I'm trying to find the name of the location.
I live in Wesley Chapel, and there's a park there where they also held like the voting. I wonder if that's the one, because it's a pretty big park.
Yeah, there's, of course I can't find it like right as I'm looking for it. Oh, here we go. It is District Park. Is anybody familiar with District Park?
Is that the one? I think that's the one on Wells Road.
Okay. Yeah, we're thinking.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's quite large. So if they're offering you meeting space, it's not hard to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also being built across our new hospital. We are building a hospital in the Wesley Chapel location at Johns Hopkins outpatient care center. So it seems to be across that area, and it looks amazing. It looks like they have a lot of engaging things, things to play on for kids and families. It looks very family oriented. So that is the area we're really looking at right now. We think it's a great opportunity. Hopefully we'll be able to get some law enforcement out there, fire trucks, all that good stuff. But just keep it on your radar. It will be in May. More than likely late May, but of course I will be in contact with Eric and everybody on this team here to forward that information. And so we can see if you'd like to participate. So hopefully we will see you there, and it will be a wonderful opportunity to showcase some injury prevention topics, safety topics, anything relevant to families and children would be beneficial. So thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I'm going to start talking because no one else was. It's Janine from MAD. Thank you, Eric, for mentioning the walk this Friday. I know a lot of you do attend, so I look forward to seeing you there. It's a nice event, and it looks like we're going to have some good weather on Friday, so I'm excited about that.
in my role with education and outreach for prevention of impaired driving, underage drinking, and drug use. I've been busy in Pasco. We had our Hillsborough CTST meeting this morning, and I didn't have as much to report, but I was writing my notes. I'm like, I have a lot more in Pasco this month. So attended the Wiregrass Ranch Health and Safety Fair. I know some of you were there. I saw you there. That's always a great event. We reach a lot of students. So got to do some impaired driving and underage use prevention talks with them. And I had 2 wonderful volunteers from the high school SAD club who ran my table for me part of the time because I had another commitment the same day. And so it was really nice to be able to collaborate with them. They're a fantastic group, a large group that we work well with, and it's run by their driver ed instructor, Greg Finkel. So he's just a big supporter in traffic safety. So I love him. I always want to give him a shout out. So been there. I've been working with local schools doing, our regular outreach and education. We have a new program this year called Prom Promise. I'm going to be presenting to their upper division at Academy of the Lakes in 2 weeks. So I'm happy to be able to get into some new schools with this program, which talks specifically about reducing and stopping impaired driving around prom season. And I continue to work with the juvenile court and juvenile sheriff, so doing education with them as well. And then Izzy mentioned the prom. Oh, I think I said Prom Promise before. Our program is called Promposal. Promposal is the MAD program, and I was reading my notes for Prom Promise, which is the mock crash that Pasco Fire Rescue coordinates, which is huge if you've never been. And again, several people here work on that. MAD and ASAP, the Alliance for Healthy Communities group, we partner with them and put out a prevention table at the 5 schools that this event takes place in each year. So we have them sign a banner and talk with them about how they felt about the experience and get some really great conversation and feedback. So we're looking forward to that again this year. Again, really big reach, which is nice. And then lastly, I'm putting in the chat, and some of you already saw this morning at the Hillsborough CTST, but MAD does a annual law enforcement recognition event statewide, and our nominations are open right now. But I want you to think about that it's not just law enforcement. There's other community groups, coalitions, individuals, volunteers who work tirelessly to help educate and fight impaired driving. And so that's what these nominations are for. So if you all could take the moment and look at that today, and I'm sure you can think of people that you can nominate. So we'd love to have a lot of nominations from this area. We are always competitive around the state. I want a lot from this area, so I'm really hoping we get a lot of nominations for this. It's a really great recognition event, and it's a training symposium for law enforcement. So it's a feel good for everybody involved. So I think that's all I have to say, unless anyone has any questions of me.
Thank you very much, Janine.
Thank you.
Anything else for education? Hearing none, we'll move on to enforcement.
Real quick, Chris, Izzy and I will be doing a modified kind of beginning starts of a car fit at Bayonet in May. So we're trying to figure out how best to do car fit with our aging drivers. So Izzy's been willing to take advantage of what she does and us incorporating some bike ped walking safety for our seniors at one of our events. So it's gonna kind of let us get the input to let them know about CarFit. If anybody doesn't know about CarFit, they have some virtual options, and then we can also do some hands-on once they do the virtual. So we're just trying to figure out the best way to incorporate CarFit with some of our aging drivers, because they're one of our highest fatality rates, and they're also one of the highest causing fatality rates, especially for motorcyclists in Pasco County.
Right. And that's May 14th. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina. Is there anything else? No? Okay. Enforcement? Anyone on the line from enforcement want to give an update?
I don't think
Jonathan
there's
Rose.
anyone from. Oh,
I was
Sorry?
going to say, I was going to let Jim do it, but he may be on something else. I know we recently, this month, just on the 19th, in cooperation with FHP and various agencies along US 301 from Manatee County to Sumter County, did a saturation patrol on 301 for speeding and other violations. And if I remember correctly, I believe the stats were somewhere around 240 citations. I think 189 various warnings and one convicted felon in possession of a firearm that was arrested during the operation.
That's a busy night. Oh,
That was between the hours of 10 in the morning till 6 in the evening.
whoa. Okay.
May I ask this? May I ask what were the limits there on 301?
I'm sorry.
What were the limits there on 301 that you guys did? If I can ask, if is it all in Pasco or larger span?
So it was the entire length of 301 from the Manatee County line, so the southern end of Hillsborough, to Sumter County.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay. Thank you. Appreciated that.
yes.
Thank you for that update.
I was going to say, I think Brenton might have the stats for that if he's online. Brenton, did you get those?
I
don't have
did
them
not
handy.
get the stats, no, but I did want to say that that was a enhanced law enforcement engagement operation. So it was, like multiple agencies participating for Ely points, which the Ely enforcement period ends next Monday, the 31st. But we are already in the works of planning our next round of engagement. So.
And this is Jim Ryder, Law Enforcement Liaison D7. I can add in there just a couple things coming up on the enforcement side. The Law Enforcement Safety Challenge reporting is open. What that is it's where agencies can take their 2024 initiatives and activities for traffic safety. They report them to the Law Enforcement Liaison Program that I'm involved with. We'll submit those to NHTSA at the federal level. It helps with justifying the grants, obtaining funding for roadway improvements, and the safety grants that law enforcement's work under. That's open through the 31st. I think most of the Pasco agencies have reported by now. So we're in good shape there. Coming up on we have Click It or Ticket coming up in May through Memorial Day weekend. Operation Southern Slowdown, which is an anti-speeding campaign, that's mid-July. And then the summer, Labor Day, actually end of summer, the Labor Day Drive Sober Get Pulled Over campaign are some of the things that my program is going to be tracking coming up through the next few months, just to give everybody a heads up. Looks like right now, if I'm looking at Signal 4 Analytics, we've been working with Dr. O'Leary at Department of Highway Safety Motor Vehicles to get some more recent information. I'm showing as of the 4th, 19 fatalities in Pasco County. That's January 1, 2025 through March 4th, 2025. Do not have the exact locations. They're all originated by FHP. That's something that as the 60-day rule expires, we'll be able to release more information about that. But that's where we're at, and I'll yield back at this time.
What were the dates for those 19 fatalities again?
The dates, well, January 1st, 2025 through March 4th, 2025. So we're first, yep.
Awesome. And do we participate in DUI checkpoints within Pasco County?
I'll let Zephyr speak about that as far as if they do anything in their agency. I've not heard of any recently. The checkpoints are, they're effective, but there's a lot of work that goes into them. There has to be planning. There has to be public release notices. I believe what they rely on, the last thing I was involved with the law enforcement liaison program was a countywide saturation patrol. So we'll have a large briefing with all the agencies, and then we'll go out and just do patrol for 8 to 10 hour period, and it's countywide usually. So checkpoints, are far a little bit more, a little more limited.
Okay, thank you for that background. I didn't know that. Okay.
To add to this, Jonathan, to add to what Jim was saying, the checkpoints for anyone that fishes, it's more like setting a line out and waiting for a fish to bite. And then the saturation patrols is like throwing a cast net out, and it's when you're looking for those numbers to justify things, it's the static checkpoints aren't as productive.
Well, that's really good to know, and it does make sense, right? I mean, you're not just in one place. I just didn't know what our activities were in Pasco, so just learning. But thank you for that input, and I agree with you 100% with the net versus fishing line. Nice reference on spring break.
And I'll add one thing about the fatality stats that I have. It looks like if I look at the same numbers for last year at the same time period, we had 20, so we're at 19 this year, so down 1. Just so the group is aware, it looks like a lot of the numbers around the state, and I deal with 7 counties, are actually trending down. So some more than others, of course. So hopefully there's some progress being made out there. But it looks like we're 1 down from this time last year, and this is actually a busy time of year for the fatality. So we'll just have to hopefully make an impact and see how the rest of the year goes.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. Anything else for enforcement? Okay. Moving on to engineering.
The only thing I think I can mention here, it's not in Pasco, but close to it. We just installed a new signal on 301 at Daughtery, or excuse me, not at Daughtery, on, where am I? 301 at McIntosh, which is just a little bit south of the Pasco County line. So if anybody takes, 301 into Hillsborough County, you'll go through that way. That's part of a project that's also installing a signal at 301 and Stacy Road, which has already been completed. And then there will also be some flashing overhead beacons at Harney Road. That is the only thing that I have on the engineering side.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, if possible, or you can tell me where I can ask this question. The flashing yellow arrow on traffic lights?
Sure.
How did they work? Are they just they only flash when there's low volume? For example, 5A in Little Road, like you have that on the top of your head.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that location specifically.
I can, are you talking about the 5A Little?
Yes.
Okay, I believe it is not a flashing yellow anymore because we were not only on the county roads, I know Little Road and 5A are the county roads, but however, on the county roads, on a high-speed maze with the 45 miles or higher, we are eliminating all the flashing yellows to start with during the daytime hours. I mean, it's not the daytime, actually from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
And not only that, we're working with FDOT and we implemented on a couple of state roads also at certain locations, but overall, we're going to implement on all the state roads also the same fashion, restricting left turns only with the yellow, with the green arrow only during.
Okay.
Yes.
All righty. And that's already been in effect?
Yeah, on a pretty good number of locations in the hills, in local roads and Pasco, and also at certain locations we already started implementing along state roads also in the county.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Vicat. And thank you, Eric.
Okay, moving on to crash statistics.
I'd like to go over the fatal crash map.
Thank you.
So from January 1st to December 31st, 2024, we finally have the full year of data. Due to the 60-day lag, we finally have all of the fatal crashes. These are unofficial fatal crashes, so they are always subject to change as more get added and removed to the system. But currently, from January 1st to December 31st, there were 104 fatal crashes. And at the last CTST from January 1st to December 16th, there were 98 fatal crashes. So there's been 6 new additions to the fatal crash map since the last meeting. Those include 1 run off the road, 1 right angle, 2 pedestrian, and 2 left turn fatal crashes. Motorcycle fatal crashes are the second highest fatal crash type in Pasco County, representing 34% of fatal crashes. And something else that we have done is this 2024 Safety Facts at a Glance, which compares all the counties in District 7 to 2024 versus 2023. So your up arrows are an increase in crashes from 2023, and then the down arrows are a decrease in crashes from 2024 to 2023. So as you can see for Pasco County, we are down in total crashes and severe injury crashes, but we're up in fatalities. So there's been more fatalities in 2024 compared to 2023. Another thing to look at is emphasis area. This emphasis area statistics, this is for all of District 7. So this is not just Pasco County, it includes all the counties in District 7. We are up in all crashes for aggressive and speeding and distracted, as well as work zones, bicycle, motorcycle, aging road user, and teen driver. And we're up in distracted for fatal and severe injuries, fatalities for intersections, severe injuries for bicycles, and then motorcycle and aging road users for fatalities. So we're improving in some areas and not improving as much in some of the other areas. And then here's additional statistics, again, where roadway systems where crashes occurred, vulnerable roadway users, just a percentage of all crashes, bicycle, motorcycle, driver age and gender. So there's a lot of statistics here, and this is also provided on that District 7 safety newsletter. If you would like to look at it in further detail, let's see if I have that. It is in the District 7 newsletter on page 4 and 5 as well, if you want to look at it.
Or that newsletter hasn't gone out yet.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it goes out at the beginning of April.
Okay, because yeah, last meeting I got the link, so I thought it was official. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Thanks for the heads up.
All right. So calendar updates, activity reports.
I don't think I have anything additional to add from our side.
Okay. Thank you. Anything from the agencies?
Do we have any, I don't think there's anyone from the schools on here, but if anyone knows of any schools in the area that are participating in Bike to School Day in May, since the CTST meetings happen at the end of the month, I was trying to get a head start on that.
Brendan,
So,
you
you know,
may
I'm
want to touch with Sheila. You may want to get in touch with Sheila. I know Sheila was wanting to do some promotion for Bike to School Day, so I wonder if she's had interest, and she typically does, something to help with promoting it. If you wanted to contact her, she's not on the call, I don't believe. So, but yeah, she is more than likely going to have something going on. Thank you for mentioning that too.
No problem.
Thank you. Anything else? HSIP update?
I don't have any updates on this. I don't believe we have any pending applications in Pasco County, but we're still accepting applications. So if there are any low-cost safety improvements, any areas where some simple signing and pavement marking, signage, even up to something as significant as an RRB if you know of any locations where you think something like that might be effective, reach out to us. We can talk it over before you submit an application, kind of give you guidance. But those are still open. So feel free to put in a submission.
Do you know what the deadline is on that, Eric?
Pretty much until we run out of money. So, which we've not done yet. So we kind of try to take them at a first come, first serve from folks who have applied and things that meet the criteria to be warranted.
Awesome.
So,
thank you. Anything else from anyone? Okay, open forum. Any other announcements? Hearing none. Lori, are you giving a presentation?
Yes, Eric, is that something you think we should do this meeting?
Sure, yeah. I think it's good.
I think a few of you guys have heard it quite a few times, so this is the last round. Depending on how many CTST meetings you attend. Let me share my screen. Okay, do you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Lori Palayo with JMT, and today I will be discussing the key differences between the mid-block pedestrian signal, also known as an MPS, and the pedestrian hybrid beacon, also known as a PHB. So both mid-block pedestrian signals and pedestrian hybrid beacons serve the same purpose, but they have operational differences. They both enhance pedestrian safety at mid-block crossings by stopping traffic when activated, but each use different signal head configurations on the mast arm. So on the top here, this is your pedestrian hybrid beacon, and this is your mid-block pedestrian signal. So there are existing MPSs in Pinellas County on 4th Street. FDOT District 7 is developing a PSA for these crossings. Here is a draft video of the MPS PSA.
The Florida Department of Transportation District 7 has installed mid-block pedestrian signals at 9 locations along US 92 or 4th Street as part of the median modification improvements from 30th Avenue North to 94th Avenue North in St. Petersburg. A mid-block pedestrian signal, or MPS, is a traffic control device that functions similarly to a regular traffic signal at a mid-block crossing location. It is intended to ensure the safety of all roadway users at pedestrian crossings. How to use the MPS properly. Pedestrians and bicyclists. To activate the pedestrian signal, press the button upon arriving at the intersection and wait to cross. Ensure that the walk signal is illuminated before stepping onto the crosswalk, and carefully look to see that all vehicles have come to a complete stop behind the designated stop line. As you cross, a countdown timer will display how much time remains for crossing. If you arrive while the countdown is already in progress, do not cross. Instead, press the button to start a new cycle and wait for the next walk signal. Drivers. Drivers should remain attentive to the traffic signal. A green light indicates that you may proceed as usual. If the signal turns red, stop completely at the stop bar. When the signal flashes, bring your vehicle to a full stop, look both ways, and proceed carefully only when the crossing is clear of pedestrians.
So it is important to note that MPSs are still under experimentation. The Traffic Engineering Manual TEM 5.2.3 states that an MPS is a hybrid pedestrian actuated or bicyclist actuated traffic control device that alternately directs traffic to stop and flashes a red indication during the pedestrian clearance interval. This traffic control device is under FHWA's MUTCD request to experiment. The FDOT has a request to experiment. Local agencies will need to get the request to experiment with the FHWA if they want to add MPSs on their roadways. So here's an example of a pedestrian hybrid beacon. This video is a PSA by Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow.
In Florida, we all expect to get to our destination safely, no matter how we travel. The Department of Transportation is striving to keep people who walk safe by adding pedestrian hybrid beacons in areas with high pedestrian traffic. At the crosswalk, press the button to activate the beacon. The beacon will turn yellow, then change to red, requiring drivers to stop. Once the pedestrian has safely crossed, the beacon will flash red, then go blank, alerting to drivers they may proceed. Alert today, alive tomorrow.
So additional PHB criteria can be found in TEM section 5.2, including pedestrian count information, context classification, etc. So what are the key differences between an MPS and a PHB? Your MPS is on the left side, and then your PHBs are on the right. So first, starting with signal type. MPSs have a standard red, yellow, green indication, and PHBs have a cluster signal head with 2 red indications above a single yellow indication. For visibility, MPSs rest on green until activated by a pedestrian, and PHBs rest in the dark until activated by a pedestrian. For operation, MPSs, once activated, cycle through a steady yellow, steady red, and flashing red indication. The flashing red indication is your pedestrian clearance interval, which means to stop and only proceed when no pedestrians are in the crosswalk. And then your PHBs, once activated, cycles through a flashing yellow, a steady yellow, and a steady red phase, as well as a wig-wag red phase. The wig-wag red phase is the pedestrian clearance interval, which is to proceed with caution if clear. So here's a table summary of the things I just discussed. Both MPSs and PHBs reduce unnecessary stops by being only pedestrian activated, and both allow traffic to proceed on flashing red once the pedestrians are clear. For state roads, if a corridor has an existing PHB, FDOT will add a new PHB for corridor uniformity to not cause confusion. If they do not, they consider a mid-block pedestrian signal. For local roads, if a local agency would like an MPS on their roadways, they would need a request to experiment with the FHWA to install the MPS. So here's the information to fill out a request to experiment for MPSs. You must send electronically to MUTCD official request at dot.gov. The MUTCD states that a successful experiment is one where the research results show that the public understands the new device or application. The device or application generally performs as intended, and the device does not cause adverse conditions. The experimenter must evaluate conditions both before and after installation of the experimental device and describe the measure of effectiveness of the safety and operational benefits, such as better visibility and reduced congestion. So how do MPSs and PHBs reduce crashes? Data was taken from an NCHRP research report 1030 back in 2023 called Safety at Mid-Block Pedestrian Signals. The report compared an NCHRP study with an Arizona DOT study. So the table shown are the crash reduction factors from the study. So as you can see, for all crashes, there's a greater reduction in crashes for MPSs versus PHDs, 34% versus 25%. Pedestrian crashes overall remain the same at 45% crash reduction. And then for rear end, it's 31% MPSs and 29% PHBs. So it shows that there's overall a slightly better benefit for MPSs versus PHBs. But in general, the studies are pretty similar. So in FDOT District 7, there are 10 existing MPS locations and 3 planned MPS locations. The existing is in green and the planned is in blue. Some existing locations in District 7 include various locations along 4th Street and the Pinellas Bayway, and some planned locations include Fowler Avenue at 14th Street, Fowler Avenue at Elmer Street, and Fowler Avenue at 52nd Street. And then outside of District 7, there are various other MPS locations as well. And in this photo here, you see an existing MPS that was installed on 4th Street and 75th Avenue. So here are some resources of some of the things I just discussed, including the MUTCD request to experiment, the PSA with walk, bike, drive, a TRB paper on some guidance on mid-block pedestrian signals, and that NCHRP report for the crash reduction factors for MPSs versus PHBs. That is everything I have. Thank you. Any comments, questions?
Quick question between the MPS and then the PHB. pedestrian hybrid. Didn't the FDOT stop doing hybrid vehicles?
From my understanding, Eric or Emma, feel free to chime in. The FDOT still does the pedestrian hybrid beacons where there's existing pedestrian hybrid beacons to keep the uniformity of the segment.
Yeah, that's correct. That's my understanding as well, is that now it's more about consistency on a single corridor so that we're not alternating.
Okay. But if you're doing on a new corridor, you're not doing PHB, you're doing with MPS, I think, right?
I'm not sure if they have a standard preference. I know we're still in the after phase of before and after evaluation of the 4th Street mid-block pedestrian signals. So it could be pending the results of that, but
Right, yeah.
I think they'd still evaluate both.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions for Lori? Or in general? No? Okay, so for our next meeting, it will be in person and the location is still to be determined. Eric or Lori, do you have any recommendations? Or does anyone from the group have any recommendations for the location?
We have Starkey Ranch Library as a good fallback. That's one that we've done most frequently, but we are always open to new ideas if somebody has anywhere in mind.
I'm still checking with Pasco, so we won't probably hear back, but that I was asking for a future meeting. So if we can make arrangements for Starkey, that would be great, unless if there's any objections from attendees. Any members?
It's a good one for people coming from Tampa. It's a nice in between type area. So
awesome.
And people coming from the east, west, So
yeah, thanks, Isabella. I appreciate that.
I know Tina Russo typically reserves Starkey Ranch, so we could reach out to her and see how to go about booking Starkey Ranch as a location.
Sorry, just to let you guys know, Pasco and PO, we utilize that location pretty frequently. So if for whatever reason it's easier, if you would let me know, we have a contact there, I could make the reservation as well.
Oh, thank you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
That must have been how Tina was doing it. She's got special contacts.
Yeah, she does.
Gotta be in the know.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. I appreciate all of your input today, and I look forward to working with each of you. So, and we'll meet in person in April if I haven't met you yet. So, I hope that we'll book Starkey and we'll send out an email with that location before the next meeting. If there's nothing further, I think the meeting can be adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great.
All right, thanks everyone.
Have a good rest of your day.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hi, thank you.